Okay, here we go with this fan. Oh wow, good evening. I certainly hope and pray that all is well. Hope everyone is having a wonderful evening. Thank you for joining. So last night, me and my daughter, we went to see Spider-Man. Like we're big Marvel fans, right? And it's so funny, like the whole series that led up to what was it? Honey, that movie with Thanos, not Endgame, the one before that. I did not know that that was leading up to that. Like, I think the very first movie, my daughter told me, the very first movie. Here, let me turn this fan on. All right. Was Iron Man. Okay. You know, I believe this is what she told me. So I always love superhero movies, right? So I went to see it. And that was before she was born, and I saw all of the movies. We saw all of them. Okay. And even the ones that were out before she was born, like I used to have I had two really huge DVD collections, okay? And I don't have them no more. Okay. But anyway, all the Marvel movies was in there, okay? Now, the comic books, no, I didn't read the comic books, okay? I couldn't tell you if the stories was accurate to the comic book or not. I just like the movies, okay? Because the comics, I used to date this guy, right, when I studied with the Hebrews, okay? He was Hebrew. Actually, I was married to him in the community. And we went to see one of the Spider-Man movies back then. It was one with Tobey Maguire. And I can't remember which one. I cannot tell you. If you are a comic book fan, don't be mad at me, honey. Okay, if he was wrong. But what he said was that particular movie was really close to the comic book. I can't remember which Spider-Man movie it was. It wasn't the first one because I didn't know him yet. Okay. But anyway, so of course we had a ball when we went to see what? I'm sorry. Don't be mad. That movie with Thanos. Okay. When it came out, picked my daughter up after school, one of the little school friends back then, and lady who raised me, and we all went to go see that movie. Okay. And I don't know. I can't tell you how many times I have watched that movie. I can sit down and watch it right now over and over and over again. Okay. But anyway, so now that they have a whole bunch of these Marvel shows on Disney Plus, I'm not sitting down watching all of those. I would like to. I just don't have that kind of time. I just rather go to a movie, let the movie just lead up to whatever is coming up next that my daughter told me about. Okay, and anyway. Because sometimes I miss stuff, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes those movies have so much detail, and I'll forget stuff, and my daughter was like, well, don't you remember in the last movie, or the scene after the credits, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what that's all about. But anyway, we went to see Spider-Man, and I really, really, I'm not going to give no spoilers or anything like that. I probably need to watch it a few times. I really liked it, okay? And one thing I really loved about it, I loved looking at what's his name, Tom Holland, his how he is like matured, and I think his bone structure in his face is just amazing. Okay, and his acting I thought was so good, and him feeling the loss that he had experienced and the loneliness he felt. I just feel like his expressions and everything were just like really outstanding. Okay, and of course I did like the storyline as well. All right, but anyway, so the lady who raised me, right, she never, nothing really moved her. Okay, like nothing was like a big deal to her, like nothing, very few things. She was not expressive at all. Okay, I think the older that we got, of course, the older she got. Okay, and I did notice she kind of loosened up a little bit. You know what I mean? But I remember when I was a student at Howard. My major was communications. And I was in the School of C. It was film, and my minor was theater art. So I think it was my senior year. I'm pretty sure because I was in the School of Fine Arts and I saw this sign there and they were looking for extras for Forrest Gump. Okay, what the hell is a Forrest Gump? Okay, but anyway, I became an extra in that movie. So when the movie came out, her and my sibling, they were in DC. I can't remember why they was there. I was like, come on, y'all, let's go see, Forrest Gump, see me in this movie. You can't see me in there, okay? And me and my sibling thought it was such a good movie. It was so just touched your heartstrings and all of that. And we're looking at her like, what did you think about the movie? She was like, it was all right. That's how she was. And me and him were looking at her like, come on now. That's all you think. And she was like, it was all right. She was moved by very little. Like, she did not like sitcoms. She hated sitcoms. She thought they were, well, maybe saying hate is strong, but she did not like them. She thought they were so silly. But it's one sitcom that she would watch and would crack up, and that was Three's Company. She would watch that and actually laugh. She liked stuff like Columbo, anything Clint Eastwood. She loved Dirty Harry movies. She loved cowboy movies. She loved anything Clint Eastwood, and of course we know why. Clint Eastwood was so fine back in his day. But she just liked that kind of machismo. You know what I'm saying? And but the reason I'm saying this about her, okay, is because so I wanted to go to this theater last night that I had never been to. It's called the Silver Spot. I don't know where they have one in Miami and a couple of other places. So I was like, well, I want to try this theater. Let's go to this theater or whatever. And I want to address something else tonight, but I'm going to say this real quick. Go to this theater and check this theater out. I hadn't planned on really buying any food, but we did. We ended up buying dinner. The seating was wonderful. Okay, but there's another theater here as other places with the same kind of seating, but it was nice, because I was born in 72. I remember the movie theaters back in the day where there's 1,000 seats in there. Okay, you sit right up on top of each other. The seat is as wide as you, okay, and there's a slight incline. So if you were little, you were hoping that no adult or big person would get in front of you because you're going to be, looking around them the whole movie to see the screen, right? But I wanted to experience this because I'm hearing about it and whatnot. Okay, yesterday was discount day. I always try to do a discount day. So we ordered food. I ordered the crispy chicken sandwich. It was really good. Okay, the coating at first couple bites was really good, but after a while it was just a little salty. But I still liked it. I finished it. The fries were really good. My daughter orders a Philly steak sandwich. So the guy comes back and was like, I don't know why I took this order. We're out of steak. Would you like chicken instead? And she said, fine. It never came. And the movie was like 2.5 hours. Was it 2.5? 2.5 hours long. It never came. So I was just like, So afterwards, I told one of the guys who was cleaning up, her food never came. Go to the front. Show me a receipt. They'll give you the food. No problem. Because he told us, he said, they brought food out. There was food sitting out, but they decided not to serve it because the movie was almost over yet, but somebody paid for the food. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we paid for that shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, don't they have a to-go box? We can put it in a to-go box. So I get up there and I told them the situation there, and they're like, oh yeah, it's been backed up. I don't know. The whole situation was like, I'm not saying I would never go back, but I just... for some place that charges so much money and this food and it's supposed to be this big posh thing, it's like, everything's ghetto. Nowadays, just everything is ghetto. Okay, let me turn my fan back on. I got my needle strung here. I'm not trying to sound like a major complainer or anything like that. It's like, we paid for this food. You know what I mean? And I said, well, they were going to give me a refund. I said, no, I just want to get it. Can we just get our food? This was our thing, dinner and movie. You know what I'm saying? Because we went to the 6:30 show. We leave out here till like 9 o'clock, or 9 something. And, like, well, it's just going to take too long. You have to wait longer for us. Okay, we get the refund. But we weren't the only people up there getting a refund. And I was like, I don't understand this whole dinner and a movie thing, because the guy's coming through. Okay, well, they have the QR code, on the table in front of you, the little table in front of you. So I'm scanning it. And I thought we would order our food from that. And then the guy comes by, gives us you need a menu. And he gave us a paper menu. Okay, but then he's taking orders as, in the dark. Because the previews for the other movies had started. And I was like, but how can he do this? I used to wait tables in my college years, okay? So I'm like, it's dark, in my eyes. I have 54-year-old eyes now, so I need, light to see at night. And see, I had got LASIK eye surgery like years ago. And let me tell you something. I got it when I was over 40. Because I was over 45, and they're like, you're probably going to have to get it again, at some point. It's like, I'm not going through that again, okay? I mean, it wasn't terrible, but I don't need to do that no more. I'll just get some glasses. When the time comes, if I need some glasses, I'll just get some glasses. That's no problem, okay? But anyway, I was just, I said, I thought this was supposed to be really... I thought this was supposed to be really nice type of somewhat close to at least posh experience. The whole thing was just ghetto. And I'm sitting there, I said, okay, well then fine, we'll just, get the refund, and they were just sitting there loudly gagging. And the one kid he was in front of me. He was behind the counter telling me about the refund, chewing his straw. And I was like, I'm ready to go home. Can you please stop chewing your straw and give me my refund? And he was just a kid. He was just like, well, I can't do it. These two around me, they got to be able to do it. So the one guy who was watching the whole time, telling them what to do, I was like, well, can you give me my refund? Oh, okay. What you need? And I just was like, I don't have to come back. Okay, I don't mind coming back, but I don't have to come back. And I'm saying that to say because, like, the lady who raised me, she was never excited about anything. She would try these things and it was maybe a big deal to us, but to her it was like whatever. That's kind of how I felt last night. I was like, I understand her now. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I really I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie. I wouldn't mind seeing it. I'm gonna tell you what movie I want to see again. And it's on, what is it, Peacock, I think, Obsession. That was a good one. It was really good. But no, I did like Spider-Man. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it. Okay, and I love the whole, like I said, I don't know what's in the comic books. Okay, I love the whole Jean Grey. I love her power and whatnot. I love all the power of the X-Men, all the superheroes. I think if I were to say from the movies, because I know Marvel by movies for the most part, like my favorite superhero so far, I have to say probably, well, I don't want to say my favorite. I really like him, okay, which I never thought I would. You couldn't have told me that I would like this character, but I liked him in the Marvel movies. I'll put it like that. It's Captain America, honey. I don't care what you say. I love Captain America, okay? I love the Marvel movie depiction of Captain America. Love him, love him. Okay, I just love him. Love his spirit, of integrity and all of that. Okay, love Captain America. Love Captain America. I love them all, but I love Captain America. Okay, but anyway, all right. Let me move on. So, my other channel. Now, usually when I get these crazy comments and stuff over there, I talk about it over here. But this time I got a crazy one. I talked about it over there, okay? But I didn't talk about it. I made a post about it. It's a long post. This woman comes through and, it's just the things that she said didn't make any sense, okay? Something about what she expected the reading to be about her. And I talked about the other person in the reading. It was Aries reading, as opposed to Aries like I do in other videos. And it's like, well, yeah, if that's what comes out in the reading, that's what I'm going to talk about. And it is a warning for whatever sign, for like I said, well, it was Aries reading. So it's a warning for Aries because this person plans on coming back around. So it was kind of like a deep dive into the psyche of that person, okay? But no general reading, on YouTube is specifically about you. You shouldn't have that expectation, all right? And then she was a whole lot of other rigmarole, okay, in her comment. I try to screenshot them just for my own purposes, because sometimes I like to go back and look at it, because sometimes, you might be reading, well, I'll say me, I might be reading it too fast, I might misunderstand something, sometimes, I have to talk it out, go through these things, channels within myself, and then sometimes I don't. I forgot to. I just deleted it and responded. But I looked at the woman's name, right? Okay, let me see something for a second. Now, when I was in middle school, and we didn't call it middle school back then, okay, it was junior high school. Now, the school I went to was the 7th through the 12th grade at that time. So I think I was like in the 8th grade, okay? So I went to Protestant Christian schools. Okay, hold on. Let me type this in real quick. Okay, so it was like I said, junior high, was in the 8th grade, and it was a Protestant Christian school. So we had chapel. We had chapel 2 days a week. We had chapel on, I believe it was Tuesdays. Was it Tuesdays and Thursdays, or Tuesdays and Fridays, something like that? So every now and then they would have guest speakers. Was this a guest speaker? Well, no, they always had guest speakers. They would, like, it wasn't like preaching a sermon. It was more of a talk, And I remember someone came, and he was, I don't know if it was a guest or one of the teachers. I can't remember. But they were talking about communication, okay, in relationships, and how we should communicate with one another. And one thing that they said, we should never use the words always, never. Okay, those, and it was a third word, but I can't remember, like you always do this or you don't never do that, because it's just not true, okay? It says when someone says another person always does something, the core problem is overgeneralization and exaggeration, okay? And what's the problem with that? Well, first of all, nobody always does anything, but what it does is it often triggers defensiveness, hurts trust, and blocks real problem solving. The absolute language turns a signal or occasional annoyance into a permanent trait. Okay, and it is triggering. It's sometimes people say those absolutes without any real thought behind it. Just saying it because you're in a heat of arguing or whatever, expressing it, whatever it is that you're upset about. Okay, but so this lady, that was the tone, like you're doing this, and like you do in your other videos. In other words, to say like that's what I always do in my videos. But I was like, well, okay, you're blocked, okay. But I think she had already unsubbed, which was fine. But the rest of the language was like double speak, okay? Or like, when they said Native Americans said white man speak with forked tongue. It was like that, okay? It was all over the place. Sometimes you have those conversations with people and they're not really saying what they want to say. They're going every way, around what they want to say and not just saying it. Or they want to sound like they know something or sound intelligent, okay, to try to make you feel small, to belittle you, which is what she was doing, because the shit she was saying didn't make no sense. After that sentence, I was like, well, the rest of this doesn't make any sense. I read like 2 or 3 times over. I was like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to the reading that I did, but that's okay. Because I know you're not one of these oppie people here that I be talking about all the time, and I know you're not one of their flying monkeys. So I looked at her name and I went to her channel. Okay, her last name was what was it, Ritzel or something like that. Look, Hold on. Because I wrote what I said and I highlighted it, to her. Her last name was Ritzel. That's right, Ritzel. So I looked up, I said, well, let me look. I looked up hold on, I'm sorry. I looked up the origin of Ritzel, which is German. And I thought to myself, is this a code for Mengele? Is it code speak for Dr. Mengele? You know, I don't know what the program is. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know. So I looked up her channel, 1 subscriber. Well, she doesn't, just because you have a quote-unquote channel or profile on YouTube doesn't mean you're creating content. Okay. But you don't have to have a channel at all if you're just looking at people's, oh man, I keep getting knots in my string, y'all. Because I'm making some waist beads. You don't have to have a channel at all to watch channels, right? At least you didn't used to. I'm pretty sure you don't. Okay. But let me see. Keep getting a knot. But the tone of it's like everybody works in these clusters. You work in clusters. You do stuff in clusters. I think that's what I want to say, clusters. And it's like, okay, this is like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be moved here or made to question myself and what it is that I'm doing and the work it is that I'm doing, because I don't. If that's what your game is, you can, no, that's not going to work. Because first of all, what she said didn't make no sense. And see, I grew up going to school with white people. Okay, I've been around white people more than the law should allow my whole life. Nothing against anybody white out there that's watching. Okay, I come to find out my birth mother is white. My best friend was white when I was in junior high school. Her name was Sherry. I had a ball with Sherry. Okay, her people didn't like when she invited me over to her house for dinner, but hey, whatever. Okay, so this is not that. But what I'm saying is, I've been around them a lot. It's like, I know that the double talk that some white people do. White men speak with forked tongue. They said it for a reason. Okay, not all. Okay, so nobody get mad or offended. All right. That's what that was. And I'm reading her rhetoric. I'm like, oh, this is supposed to sound intelligent. She's supposed to be making me feel as though she has more intelligence than I do. And it's to make me, what she's trying to do is make me question and doubt my work. That's not going to happen, hon. Or whatever group, whatever the Gubment group, MK Ultra program, or whatever these programs are that you do to people. No, that's not going to happen. And when I saw that and I looked up the origin, I was like, look up the origin of the name Ritzel. And I saw German. I said, Mengele. I remember when I was years ago, I used to work for the county. I used to work for child support. Very boring job. A fifth grader could do it. Okay, one of the type of jobs, right? One of the types of jobs, it was a point system. You had to have so many points by the end of the month. Well, it didn't really take much to get those points, okay? I worked in child support. I worked in enforcement. So it didn't take much. So majority of the month, what was I doing? I was looking on the internet. And I can't remember what website it was on, but it was so good. I was reading all these stories about who? Dr. Mengele, honey. I mean, it was some good shit. I used to love reading on that shit, okay? And like I said, I'm reading, and I'm like, you, please, it's like, why do you question whoever you are? Why do you question? Like, I listen to some readers, readers, I watch readers, like myself. What you do, you tend to indulge in yourself. And it's like, why? I be hearing stuff like these people are surprised and shocked, how he's able to get through this shit and whatnot. Like, why? You give the information on, I don't know, how to escape the program, or give them tools on how to think critically, and or whatever you want to call it, okay? And then you're surprised. It's like, I know what this speak is. You already told me when I was in the 8th grade not to use the absolute language, and the rest of the stuff is gibberish that's supposed to be made to sound like she's super intelligent, which you're not, and you're behind some kind of fake profile thing, or especially people who don't have no picture up or whatnot. You're not just some random person on YouTube. You understand what I'm saying? But maybe you have a blank channel that has absolutely nothing there, so you can subscribe to people, and that could be possible. You know what I mean? But I'm just like, you know what it's like, go on somewhere with that. And then I get and nothing against you, honey, if you watching. Then I get a response to a comment I made to someone who was sent to me when I did learn all of this information, like, for sure, was sent to me on my psychic app, who's supposed to be a psychic on there, so she is. I don't know if she still is. That I made 3 years ago. I mean, I just, that's what I mean when I say y'all do stuff in clusters. Everybody. The little IP people here that y'all use, they all do the same. When they take a break or whatever, they probably don't ever take a break, but then they all come together at the same time. Here's a comment, here's a black magic witchcraft, here's this, here's that, all it, and it just it's on repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat, over and over and over again. So I'm like, okay, here's the silly ass comment from Mengele and them that I'm supposed to be moved by, but I'm not. See, because I've played that game with y'all before already. I played that game. I'm clear. You taught me. Don't use absolute language. This is what it does. And that's what she did. Now, did she say always? No, but she alluded to it. Lady, I don't care what you think. This is that's my channel. I don't owe you an explanation. I'm going to do what I'm doing. I'm going to do what I'm led to do. If that's what comes out in the read, so what? Then why would you say to somebody, I expected it to be about me? Like, how many times? It's just like, I don't understand this whole thing. It's like, it doesn't take a genius. How many readers on here say all the time, it's not a personal reading. If you want a personal reading, you need to schedule a personal reading or pay for one. Especially with you coming through trying to sound like you're so progressive and intelligent. You understand what I'm saying? Well, obviously you're not. Or you didn't practice, you all didn't practice enough, or whatever the case, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've been through this shit already. It's supposed to trigger certain things in me, or whoever it is that you're targeting, whoever it is that you have in your little experimental weird ass fucking programs, who halfway escaped and got out or whatever, or even if they didn't, you want to constantly try to trigger certain wounding. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, well, the rest is gobbledygook. I know that. Like I said, I grew up around you all. I know how you talk, especially when you're trying to do some trickery. Okay, and then so I ignored the rest because it was just nothing. And then, but the beginning part is like, well, see, what she did was she led in, with criticism to make you doubt yourself. And then the rest was supposed to sound like intelligent talk, like, oh, she's more intelligent now, oh my God, and make a person, what is it that you do, self-doubt, question themselves, all of that shit, all of that shit. It's just, this is just like the silliest thing. And then here go this person, none against you, love. You know what I'm saying? But I know when people have been sent to me, especially since, I discovered, okay, This lady is not my birth mother. This lady is, especially since then. I know, I can tell this one is sent, that one was sent, that one. Because it just don't make no sense. And what I mean by that is it don't make no sense because I know my life. I know what I do. I know who would come around me and who wouldn't because I lived with myself for 49 years, okay? And just out of the blue. I know the path that I took. I know the purposeful steps that I took, And then all of a sudden, here's this person. Oh, I'm just interested. No, you're not. But it's okay. And 3 years later, come on now. Stop. I mean, it could possibly be, but given the situation, I doubt it. I knew she was sent when the first time I encountered her on the app. I knew she was sent then, the very first time. It's like, what are you looking for? How about just give me my money? How about that? And leave me alone. Okay? I was talking to someone about some of this, and she said, it's just like all these people just want to just bite up off of your energy, just trying to just get your energy. I was like, I know. I've been dealing with this shit all my life. You screw you in your program. What are you looking for? It's silly. And that's the sad thing. You may think that it's so deep and intense and serious. It's just silly. Honestly, it's silly. And it just sounds like something so unbelievable, But I listen, like I said the other day, I listen to some people, I listen to their stories. I'm like, okay, this just sounds like the same shit I've been going through. But I don't tell them that. You know what I'm saying? I would like to, but I'm just like, yeah. I mean, I have talked to some people who know they was put through some kind of weird-ass program. Experimented on. Yeah, I want y'all to see if I gotta bend down. Okay. But whatever. That's just the end of that. Whatever. Even you with your weird program, I didn't come here for you for that. You owe me money. Period. Mine. Let's just keep testing her. Why? How about leave me be? I know what this feel like, that feel like, this feel like, and that feel like. I know the numbers are lying. I know. It's clear. How many people are truly watching? I don't know. But it's more than what you put up here. Half time I don't even think when I do these lives that it goes to the general YouTube populace out there. It's people who decide they're gonna make my life a real life Truman show. Okay? We'll sit this, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have anything for you. Just give my money. All right. But, so, kind of want to speak to something. Yeah, I feel like the space that we live in, it reminds me of Star Wars. You know how it was the goal, the point was to bring balance back to the Force, not one over the other, just balance. It's off balance, y'all. We gotta bring some balance back. Okay, you're gonna have the yin and yang. You already know about all that. Okay, but the space sometimes is so negative that I think a lot of times, including myself, we can come from a place of, I'm hearing retreat, but that's not what I was thinking. But yes, but defensiveness. Okay. It's not always about I'm trying to think of the best word. It's not always about a person being um, mean or hateful, or it can come across that way, but it's usually just defensiveness. Because it's a lot of, it's just like I took a class, for those who remember, about with Dr. Laila O. Africa, and I had read some of his, I read two of his books. I read Nutricide, which I really liked that book when I read it. My sibling hit me to it way back in the day, and there was a Islamic bookstore, and they had a lot of black books there. And he took me to that bookstore. I think it was one Christmas. We were both here on Christmas break home, and he took me there. They had a wonderful restaurant next door. That the guy who owned the bookstore owned the restaurant, but unfortunately they're both closed now. But anyway, so I got that book. I really loved it. And then there was another one, African Holistic Health, that I had that book. So years later, he was here, a girl that I knew here, that I met when I was with the Hebrews. Neither one of us were with the Hebrews, but at this time. But she had put together a class with him teaching it, a holistic, class, and we were to get certified and everything. So I met him personally, and he would share things with us, and then he would come and do his lectures, and I went to like a couple of lectures. He was so funny to me. But anyway, he was talking about Western society all being a war culture. Everything is based on war, okay? At first I didn't understand, but then as the more he explained it, I was like, okay, I get it, and I do see it. It's always like this combativeness. It's always a versus situation. Us versus them, me versus you, you versus me, versus, okay? And when you have war culture, what does that mean? War, somebody has to win, right? Okay. So you have that, but you also have a lot of people that may feel isolated, a lot of abandonment. Even if the abandonment isn't physical abandonment, it may be emotional abandonment, okay? From those who are supposed to love you, nurture you, guide you, where you're supposed to feel safe and protected. But in those formative years, you don't feel safe, you don't feel protected, because you're not safe and you're not protected by those who brought you into the world, okay? Neglect, abandonment, okay, all of these things, right? All right. And so those, and especially if they're there during our formative years, what do they say? It's the first 5 years of your life, I think, pretty much lays the foundation for who you're going to be, and whatnot. And it forms you. That's like the foundation of your life. So I feel like with all that, a lot of times people can come from a spirit and place of negativity, even if they're not trying to be, or what I'm really trying to say is not negativity, but of defensiveness, okay? And I feel having a need to, which is human, the need to be accepted by someone, we do, that's why we have families. You may call that your tribe, or like you hear like some spiritualists talk about having your soul tribe, okay? Because you want to feel included. People will get involved in certain hobbies. They feel accepted with that particular hobby. Though people that are in that group, because they have a common a thread. Okay, they have something in common. So that's normal. Okay, and then when a person feels, I'm hearing the word conquered. That's not what I was thinking, but that would fit. But they feel maybe like so many people or so many things are against them, especially if that's what they experience in those formative. Excuse my daughter and her friend out there having a good time. If you hear them laughing, but anyway, you will feel defensive. And in feeling defensive, you may be like argumentative, you may be address something negative, or you may want to say, I need to feel, and this may sound corny to people, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? You may feel, okay, I need to feel loved, I need to feel nurtured, I need to feel accepted, I want your love, I want your acceptance, I want, one girl, this particular girl who put that class together, one thing that she used to say a lot was, what I don't want to say a lot, but she said to me one time, she said, Nikki, I just want somebody on my side? You know, why can't anybody ever be on my side? You know, and I understand that when people feel that way, you know, because what it's saying is, you know, my initial thought would be that, okay, I gotta put my charger in. Okay, my initial thought would be, wait a minute. Did I miss something? I wonder, can you all hear me? Okay. It's like on my other device, it just the screen went out for a minute. Okay, my initial thought would be, okay, wait a minute. Okay, my initial thought would be, I don't know, I forgot where I was going, but as time goes on, I realized, no, okay, oh yeah, my initial thought would be that what the person is saying, what she was saying, or anybody who would say that, is that they want someone to agree with them, even if they're wrong, you know, like be on my team, that type of thing. Okay, again, the war culture versus, okay, but then I realized, no, that's not necessarily what's being said. Even if they don't consciously know that that's not what the person who says it, if they don't consciously know that that's what's being said. What they're saying is, I just want some support. I just want some support. That's it. Like, what about me? You know, maybe I am wrong in some ways. Maybe, you know, I'm wrong in the whole thing, but is there some support? Do I have some support, or is everybody against me? And I know we live in a world now where everybody just cold and hard, and that's the cool thing to be. Bullshit. Okay. No. Everybody wants a support from somewhere, from someone. Not somewhere, someone. Okay. Again, that's why family is important. Okay, because even if you're wrong, your family, you want to have the nurturing and love of your family, so that when they tell you, hey, you're wrong in this, it's okay, because I still know that I'm loved. I'm talking about a loving, nurturing family. Okay, I still know that I'm loved. I still know that I'm a part of this community. I'm a part of this tribe. I'm accepted in this group. Okay. There's sometimes like I said, sometimes I do ride share. And pretty much I listen to tarot while I'm doing it. And I've said this before, I've had passengers, you know, I had one lady, she got to crying, okay, when she was listening to the reader. And she was like, oh my God, what is this ministry? She called it a ministry. I was like, it's a tarot reading. You know, and she said, oh my God, this has helped me so much. And I've had quite a few people ask, what is this you're listening to? And I'm like, it's tarot reading, you know, on YouTube. And it's not me. I don't really, sometimes I listen to my own, but usually the ones I'm listening to, it's not mine, it's other people's, you know. And I'll tell them who I'm listening to, you know what I mean? And then I'll be like, I got a channel too. Some to my channel, please. You know, but they go find that person, and they you know, I don't know if they sub to them or not, but I'll write their name down, I'll tell them, I'll show them their channel or whatever, but their hearts are touched, you know. Something is said that speaks to their situation or speaks to what's happening with them. Me, I listen to tarot readers. I have certain ones that I am sub to, which I don't listen to even some that I'm sub to, I don't listen to every single one of their readings. Not because, sometimes I just don't want to. Sometimes I don't want to listen to tarot for a while. I want to listen to some music, or I love watching the body cam videos, okay? Or I might listen to some Jordan Maxwell. I might listen to some left hand path stuff. You know what I'm saying? I listen to a plethora of things, okay? Depends on, what my energy is for that moment in time. But ones that I do listen to, I do, if I listen, my sign is Aries. I tend to listen to more, well, no, I'll listen to collective reading too, not just zodiac signs. It was a time where I just listened to zodiac. When I first discovered tarot on YouTube, I just listened to my zodiac sign. I'll only listen to Aries. I will listen to my rising or moon. Okay, both of those are Sagittarius. I will only listen to Aries. I pretty much do the same way. But I do listen to collective readings as well, and the reason I listen to it is because it helps me. Okay, and I don't say that everything that they're saying it resonates with me or is my situation, but it helps me to whether these people know me or not, whether they're purposely reading me or not. I don't know one way or the other. But what I do know is that it has helped me piece together aspects of my life that have been a mystery to me. So I really don't care who it is. It has been helpful to me. Just like some of those passengers that have been in my car have found that the reading that they are hearing have been helpful to them. So yes, I will listen to readings that I believe may help me piece together some things. That's why we're here. Or I don't want to say we, whatever. That's why we're doing the readings. Okay. That has been my focus. My personal life that I dealt with to this day at 54 years old. Not just with the last 2 years, not the last few years I've been on YouTube, not, since day one. Like I said, I have been able to look as a small child. I knew before I started school, look and see, I'm in a situation here that I'm not supposed to be in, and maybe spiritually I am supposed to be there, that I am in, and it's highly questionable. Now, of course, at 4 years old, I didn't use that wording. I just knew something didn't feel right. Okay? I'm looking at people that they're telling me is my family, but my spirit is telling me I don't know any of these people. But here I'm left in their hands to care for when the parents, whoever they really are, aren't there. And I'm in these people's hands, but I don't know these people. My spirit doesn't know them. But okay. That's my focus. Not anyone else's life is my focus. I don't watch every single thing that happens on this platform. I first got on this platform in 2000. What was it? Maybe 19 to read tarot. Not to go through any of the drama that I have encountered on this platform. None of it. I've learned a lot on this platform. I really like it, honestly. Despite so much, I really, really like it. But I didn't get on here for none of the drama. No, the stuff that I have encountered or anyone else's. I don't sit back and just watch people's whatever issues that they're having with one another. I don't sit back and watch it because I don't want to. And then I work, I have a daughter. I got 2 daughters now. Okay. Uh, just life. I watch other things at times, or nothing at all. I cannot speak to something that I don't know the ins and outs of, and that I'm not a part of, and I don't want to be a part of it. It's none of my business. And because sometimes we can be, and I said we, this is not said in a negative way to bash anyone. We can be, I don't want to use that word trigger. I don't like that because I feel like people have demonized that word, and I feel like people have used it to try to criticize someone. But we can be defensive. We can be in a space of hurt. We can be in a space, come from a space of injury. Okay? Including myself. That's human. But I don't want to be a part of something that is not, that I don't have anything to do with. However, I try to be in all things open. I try, but I don't always succeed. I have my own opinions. I have my own biases. I got all of that shit like everybody else. I don't run in groups. Never have. So I don't have an issue with someone and pit myself against someone because someone that I might be friends with or in communication with or whatever has an issue with that person. I don't do that. I'd like to not be accused of something that's not who I am. But how would you know? And it's okay if you don't. It wouldn't make sense for you to if we don't talk to one another. But if I'm ever in a situation, like I was a substitute teacher. Let me tell you something. I was a substitute teacher, right? And I was working for a district. I was working for an agency at first. And then I was working with the district. The district hired me to be a building sub. So I was working at the high school as a building sub, and then toward the end of the school year, maybe like in April, this was a few years back, I was I was hired to go to the middle school to be a student support coordinator, which is different than being a teacher. It was like an administrative role. And it was for discipline. I was only supposed to work level 1 discipline, like you late for class, you late for school, basic things like that. But it was just so wild and so much mayhem. And they needed all the help they can get. I ended up whatever situation, please. Okay. So often when students would have issues with one another, and inevitably, this is just a side note, inevitably it always started on social media. All the time it started on social media, okay, and carry over into real life world there, this bus, the building, the cafeteria, okay. And I remember I was so nervous doing that job, right? And my second day, it was they was calling me on the walkie, come Miss Lewis, come to the cafeteria, Miss Lewis. Oh shit. You know what I'm saying? It was the end of the school year. The kids didn't know me, but you know what? Children are so resilient. They just saw an adult and they just fell right in line. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to explain who I was or anything. They just saw an adult. Okay. But anyway, I go to the cafeteria. It's just mayhem. The kids is just going crazy. Oh shit! What can I do? You know what I'm saying? So I look over and there's a teacher trying to hold off this girl from somebody. I could not tell who he was trying to hold her off from. Okay. So I was like, let me go get security guy. I don't know what to do. So I went to get security. By the time I came back, they had moved. And I was standing like this girl, she was flat footed, had her fist going like this. And I was like, who was she going to hit? I couldn't tell. And I was standing right there and she swung and I was like, whoo, because she almost got me. But she ended up the little boy. Okay, and I say little because she was tall, and he was not. Okay, hauled off and boom, right here. And he was about my complexion. He had a huge red mark, and I was like, wow, what a second day. I'm already scared. You know what I'm saying? What a second day. But I had to handle that situation. I had to help him. They sent them to me first. Okay. The girl, I don't know the teacher that was holding the one girl off, he had a black eye. I think the girl hit him, but it was an accident. Like she was going to swing, at one point, and the teacher, caught her and, okay. And see, I had, it was so many stories. I was like, I can't stop no fights, y'all. I can't stop no, no fights. Okay, teachers, one fell, hit her head, got a concussion. One lady went to stop a fight. All of this shattered, the bones and it all shattered in here. She couldn't teach no more. The assistant principal, they was in her office and they got her when they was going after each other and she had some kind of injury for a long time. You know what I'm saying? I was like, Lord have mercy, but what I'm saying that to say that, I had to at that point, and I didn't have experience. They just needed it covered at that point in time because it was the end of the school year and the person who had the position, he just left. He just left. But, I had the master's and I had the pastoral care and counseling. I had that stuff. So, okay. And I had a pretty good work, whatever, at the high school. So, I did have to be interviewed, all that, so I got the position. But I often had to work, handle those types of situations where kids were, they were fighting and all of this kind of stuff. And I shared an office with a lady who was contracted out. And she didn't work for the district. She worked for another company. I can't remember what it was, but she worked with children. I think she worked with children who were ED, okay, emotionally disturbed. But so me and her, they let us work together, and we shared the office and everything. And I had to listen to both sides. You know what I'm saying? I had to listen to both sides of the situation. And sometimes I remember one particular situation. These girls, I don't know what, I can't remember what they was mad at each other about. Okay, it was about 4 or 5 of them. It was one girl by herself. Okay, against all of these other girls by herself. And the way she handled herself in the office, I initially thought she was the problem. Okay, because she was quiet. She was like stone faced, and I thought it was her. I thought she was. I was like, okay, she problem, And the other girls, they always spoke and everything. Well, as time went on and we talked more and more and more, I realized she was not the problem. They were the problem. And I'm listening to both sides of the story. Me and the lady were listening to both sides of what had occurred. But as time went on and we talked more and whatnot, I realized, oh, I see. I hadn't seen any of those things. Most of the time when those young people had those situations with one another, and it always inevitably always started on like Facebook or TikTok or whatever the hell, you know what I'm saying? That was one thing that the teacher always had to, the administration always had to let me see the situation on social media. So that they had to look at it from beginning to end to see all aspects of it, to make a determination about how it got to the point where it got to, so that it could be handled appropriately. And that was a job. I got paid $300-something a day to do that work. That was my job. This is not my job. You know, I have a tarot channel that does tarot for general readings. That's it. As far as YouTube, and this channel is not monetized. I took that off of here, off this channel. My other channel is monetized. Now I don't get paid a lot. You know, it's very small, very small. I just started it in January. Okay. I don't sit back and watch people's things that people go through on here. I cannot speak to something. If I'm speaking out of turn, then I'm wrong. Now, like I said, I don't mind being wrong, and my apologies. But if I'm not, I cannot speak to something I don't know the ins and outs of, and I wouldn't, because it would not be fair to myself, nor would it be fair to anyone else. Now, if somebody asked me what I thought, that's different from what I have seen, which is very little. But no one has asked me, and I'm not in part of any kind of group, despite what anybody says. I'm telling you who I am. I'm not a part of anybody's group or none of that. On this platform, I've never been that person. You know, have I had core friends that I hung out with? Yeah. Am I in groups and gangs and all? No, I'm not. I still get them emails. I got two of them emails, I think, about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm never responding to those. I will never be a part of that. No, thank you. But I do feel that everybody's position from their perspective, because I've been one of those people myself in life in general. I'm not talking about on here, I'm talking about in life in general. I feel that everybody's position comes from a place of what they believe is valid. And I support that. If that's you know what people are looking for, I support that. But I'm not going to support anything that is erroneous purposefully. And I'm not saying that about anybody. I'm just saying in general. A student, you come in and I know you're lying. Why? Because I was standing right there. Like if the girl said, I ain't hit him at all. Yeah, you did, because you almost knocked me out. You understand what I'm saying? No, that's purple. What did I say? Erroneous, purposeful, erroneous, whatever I just said, okay? You're lying, okay? You're lying. I was right there. You almost knocked me out, okay? If he had moved half an inch, I would have had the big red mark on the side of my face and my neck. No, thank you, okay? You know what I'm saying? But that's the best that I can do. If I'm asked, and politely, because I am a human being and I do have feelings. I do. Just like everyone. Everyone. Like I said the other night about someone who I feel like owes me I don't feel like who owes me an apology. But if that person chooses not to apologize to me, that's them. You know what I'm saying? That's okay. I can't force nobody to do nothing. If you don't, then that means you don't want to, or you don't think I deserve it, or what you meant what you did, or whatever the hell the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But I don't like. I have not done anything to anyone to hurt anyone. And what I'm referring to. So I don't want to be hurt and accused of something myself. But I do, I find, I was telling somebody the other day, it's very few people, very, very few people that I have met. And I've met a lot of people, okay, in my life. I've met a lot of people. It's very few people that I've met that I don't like, that I can say, I don't like that person. I could probably count on one hand and not use all my fingers where I can say I do not like that person. That's probably the amount of people, even people that have hurt me, even people who hear me talk about on here, blowjobs and all that. Not blowjobs. I didn't mean her. Monsters, Pixies, and Blings, all these people. I don't dislike these people. Do I like what they have done to me? Hell no, I don't like that at all, and I don't appreciate that at all. But I do not dislike them. Some of these people I spent time with, I liked who they were. Okay, they didn't like me or they were targeting me. That's not my problem nor my issue, and it's not going to take away what I felt for them at the time. Because I can go through each one of them and tell you exactly what I liked about them and what I thought about them and the beauty that I saw in them. This was a choice that they made. Okay, with the Mengele program and all of this shit, the program that they threw me in. They decided I'm going to be an experiment. Okay, it's a lot of folks. Okay, but it's very few people. I probably can say maybe like 2 or 3 people that in my life that I could look at and say, I don't like that person, their person, them as a person. I don't. And it ain't nobody, well, except one person on this platform. I think we know who that person is. But other than that, no. I may not, just like people may see things that I do, or maybe see things that I say, or whatever that they don't like. Okay? And we all gonna have that. That's normal. But one thing I don't like, and I don't deserve, is to be sized up. It's like, why? Why are you doing that? If that's the case, and like I said, if what I'm speaking to is correct, I might be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I accept my wrong. Okay? But please don't do that to me. Okay. If somebody asks me what you think about this, have you seen this? What are your thoughts? What do you think? Well, this is what I think. Okay, and it's best I could say because this is all I seen. Or I could maybe say I don't have no thoughts because I don't know all the ins and outs, and it wouldn't be fair to give some kind of draw a conclusion that is what is it based on. It's not based on the entirety of it because I don't know the entirety of it. Do you watch my platform? Sometimes I do. Yes. Sometimes I like what I hear. My sub? No. That doesn't mean anything, though. Are you looking for something, for me to read something specifically about you? Yeah, I am, because it's helping me put together the pieces of my personal life that I'm sharing on this channel. You may pick up on something that's going to help me unlock all the mysteries of my life and all the lies that I've been told and lies that have been told about me and the secret things people have done to plot and plan on me for money. It's been very helpful. Okay? So, that's the best that I have. And, people, you have to be careful when you talk about human beings because we all have our sensitivities. I know I do. Shit. You know what I'm saying? Because we're human. And that's at least that's my reality. I can't speak to nobody else. You know what I'm saying? But, and then, I was always told to mind your own business. You know what I'm saying? I do I try to mind my own business. Okay. But if I'm mistaken in any way, then my apologies. If I'm not, then that's what I have. Okay. And I hope that is I don't know what to say. Maybe I hope that can be a blessing to myself as well as others. All right, that's all I got. All right, but anyway, I'm going to bed. I think I have to make about 3 more wave speeds, and I have not done it yet. I just been, I just ain't did, but I will. All right, you all have favor, peace and love, peace.